Sorry. It's like fun to pretend this is natural.
Yeah.
I just lost my questions. Are we on?
We're up.
Hold on a second.
Oh dear, that's always good news.
Is it good to have arms up or down? Oh no, we're just rolling. Well, everyone knows that.
We're
What do you
on?
think, guys? Arms up or arms down?
Well, let's ask the audience because apparently we're on.
Okay.
Like, Facebook, let us know. Do you like arms up or arms down?
You never quite know whether you know.
Well, hi everyone. I'm Janelle Riley. I am the Deputy Awards and Features Editor here at Variety, and I'm here with the busiest man in show business. This year alone, he's been in High Rise, I Saw the Light, and The Night Manager, for which he earned his first, you know, so I'm saying first, Emmy nomination for lead actor in a miniseries or movie for playing Jonathan Pine.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
How did you get the news?
I got it in a text message, or a number of text messages, in Australia at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, that's right, because you're there filming Thor.
Because I was filming
Right.
Thor, and I had, I think I told you, I just got back from Ghostbusters.
That's right.
Where I've been watching Ghostbusters with Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo and Taika Waititi, and it was, we had a great time and came back and got some good news. It was great.
That's right, because I said that's pretty much the best day ever.
It was a great day. I'm not going to lie.
Speaking of, it's Chris Hemsworth's birthday today.
It is. It is. In fact, it probably was yesterday, but, or rather, because I'm figuring out that Australia is 17 hours ahead.
Right.
And so Chris Hemsworth is already at least a day into his new year. But for us, it's his birthday today.
Were you able to wish him a happy birthday before you left, or?
No, sadly not.
Are you getting him anything?
I'll get him something when I get back, yeah.
Okay. Any hints
I don't
as to
know what.
If he's watching this now, Chris, turn it off. That's a surprise.
Yeah, don't. Chris, we'll figure it out.
I want to talk about your competition in this category because this is a crazy category.
It is. It's
This
an
is
amazing
like the best
category.
actors working today.
Yeah, they are forces to be reckoned with.
And two of your friends.
Two of my great friends. It's not I get to see them because we never get to see each other because everybody's working in different places. So it's really nice. Yeah.
Was it a little awkward on the Thor set when Idris showed up, or?
He's not there yet.
Oh,
but
good.
it's immediately, like within 6 hours, Benedict emailed me, and then Idris and I texted each other, and it's just so. I mean, they're old friends now, but they are the most magnificent actors, and it's genuinely an honor to be in their company.
Please tell me Benedict's email is like Moriarty sucks at AOL.
What is this email actually?
Yes, please let everyone know.
Yeah. I'm sure he really wants the world to.
So you know what my theory is about this race? Whoever wins gets to be James Bond.
That seems like an excellent
Don't
theory.
you think that's fair?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Bryan Cranston, 007.
I would absolutely see that.
Yeah, I could too.
So you're nominated for The Night Manager, which is, of course, amazing, based on I never say it as nicely as you, but the John Le Carre
That's right. That's
novel.
his name.
I've been
John Le Carre.
practicing.
Yeah.
Were you familiar with it when you were approached about this project?
I wasn't. I mean, I knew of his books, but I didn't know that specific one. I read this script for the first episode, and it was it was structured slightly differently, where you met Jonathan Pine in Switzerland, and then it immediately smash cut back to the Arab Spring riots. But he was just the most compelling character, immaculate, well turned out, and hidden, and that thing of the exploration between the public face and the private interior, as someone who's of service, someone who's naturally deferential and polite and charming, but that's all a professional facade behind which is this huge anger. It was so compelling.
And it's a 6-part miniseries. I think AMC is actually running the whole show.
They're doing a marathon on Saturday.
Yeah. But with one director, Suzanne Bier.
Yep.
And so in many ways, it's like a long movie. I mean, it looks like a movie. You had like great production value on this thing.
And it felt like it, to be honest. It felt like, I mean, bearing on budgets, a film can be 7 weeks or it can be 16 weeks, and of shooting time, and this was 15 weeks, and I was in every day, every scene, and it was scheduled like a film. So, on a Monday we might be doing in the morning a scene from episode 1, and then in the afternoon episode 6. The next day episode 5. That's just how the thing was structured. So it felt very much like one piece with its own integrity. And strangely enough, most people that I've bumped into who've seen it have binged it.
Yes.
They sort of come up and say, we did it in a day, we did it in 2 days, or, we couldn't stop. We started it, and which is really thrilling because it means people are sort of compelled to keep watching.
So invested in it too.
Yeah, it's cool.
But at the same time, aren't you like, hey, I spent a year making this. You could at least spread it out a couple weeks.
Yeah, I know. It's weird that. It's always so weird that, though, when you spend so much time over something and the whole thing is compressed so that when you watch it, it's such a short moment of the audience's life. But that's the way of it, right? That's art. That's making stuff.
And did you know Hugh Laurie before going in? Oh, I should say fellow Emmy nominee Hugh Laurie, because
yes, indeed.
he was nominated, Olivia Colman's nominated.
And Susanna,
It's fantastic.
It's great. It's so nice. It feels like the whole family is being celebrated. So.
Did you know him before making this project?
Did I know Hugh? I don't think, we maybe had met once, but we didn't only to know. I mean, to all intents and purposes, we didn't know each other at all. But we became, it was one of the easiest working relationships I've ever had. We went out for lunch, I remember, about 2 months before we started, just to sort of say hello. And lunch spread into an afternoon walk. It was cold, it was January, we were in London, and then sort of the afternoon walk spread into coffee and tea, and then we just kept emailing each other, and it was great. I kept, we had all these crazy references. He's an extraordinary man.
Well, he's best known out here for more dramatic work like House, but you probably grew up with him on like Jeeves and Wooster and Blackadder.
He was like the preeminent comedian. I mean, his generation, him and Stephen Fry and Rowan Atkinson and Rick Mayall, they were like a group of comedians who we worshipped. I worshipped. Blackadder, a bit of Fry and Laurie, and Jeeves and Wooster. I just loved. It took me about, if we were shooting for 15 weeks, it took me until like week 12 to just slide a Blackadder compliment across the table.
Really?
Like, hey, I loved you in Blackadder, by the way.
He doesn't like compliments, though, does he?
No, he took it.
Okay,
he
good.
was in it. Yeah. But no, he's a very modest fella, so I didn't want to make it. But yeah, I remember I had my tonsils out when I was 11, and it was a miserable experience for anyone who's done that. And I went to cheer myself up after the operation. I went home and watched Blackadder on VHS, and actually had to switch it off because I was laughing so much and it made my throat hurt.
Really?
Yeah.
That's like the highest compliment.
I think so.
So we actually talked to Susanna Bier, and she talked about how involved you and Hugh were in the creative process. And she gave me this interesting quote, which was, they both came to set every single day with, at times, very radical suggestions for how to deal with the scenes. Sometimes less radical, but always with suggestions. Do you remember like a radical suggestion you made, whether it got used or not?
Gosh. I mean, I was inspired as much by her, actually, because she's very correctly rebellious with the writing. It might read as true, and then when she gets on set and she starts to put a scene together in the room, she says, this doesn't feel right, we have to change something around. And it could be an emotional beat, it could be something to do with the way the set has been designed. I'm trying to think of radical reinterpretations.
Whether you used it or not, I don't know.
I can't. Honestly, it was one of those things where sometimes there are lots of ideas where I can't remember whose idea it was. You just hope that the best idea wins in a way. I do remember asking Susanna if we could not rehearse the scene where Pine finds Sophie.
Oh, really?
In the first episode, where he finds her.
Spoiler
alert.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically towards the end of episode 1, where he sees Sophie for the last time. And I remember asking her, they were setting up the shot, and I said, can we not discuss it? Can we not rehearse it? Tell me what the shot is, and if it's all right, I'll just just roll and I'll just come in and we'll go.
Wow.
And so that was just a one-er.
Really, you did that take one time?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I didn't want to see, or Attica, who played Sophie, I didn't want to see her. I just wanted to come in and do it. Mm-hmm. And it was really an amazing moment, because it was sort of felt, she was like, okay, I completely understand. Don't premeditate a response, just come in and respond.
Wow.
You know?
So she didn't know what you were going to do?
Nope.
Wow. I actually have a couple questions from Twitter about Night Manager. Toria Grace wants to know if you and Hugh Laurie becoming friends helped the Pine-Roper chemistry. You have chemistry with everyone in this show. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's actually a line where they say, like, everybody loves you. Like, what's the deal?
Honestly, it must have done, I guess. I think he's great. I was inspired so much by his passion about the project, and we had so many points of reference. Oddly, we had so many things we both loved and both talked about and shared, and they were films and books and sport, and so we would talk about that stuff off set. And I think that always helps if, with this, the relationship between Roper and Pine is very strange, because they clearly are drawn to each other. And that's what I think makes it compelling, is that they are pitched, the audience know they're pitched as mortal enemies. And yet they seem to find so many points of commonality, and they share a sense of humor, and they admire each other, and they're sort of drawn to each other in a way. And whether that's a slightly refracted father-son thing that's going on, that Pine doesn't have a father and Roper feels he doesn't have a successor to his business, even though he has a son. Anyway, I'm sure it played into it. Yeah.
So you and Hugh, you like the same books, movies.
Yeah.
Does he like Michael Mann's Heat?
He does. Yeah.
I am totally behind on the train.
Actually, the film we talked about that we both love is Tony Scott's Crimson Tide.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Yeah, it's great.
You know what else is good?
Yeah.
Crimson Peak.
Thank you very
much.
much.
Heard of that one?
I have heard of that one, yeah. The two movies are very different.
Yeah, exactly. As my mom found out, unfortunately.
Yeah. We talked about that. We talked about Casablanca. His love for Casablanca is pure.
Yeah.
And listening to him talk about it is great. And then there was a book about the brain, which he was reading, about how the brain works, and basically we have no idea about the sophistications of our own brain, and you get him started on that stuff, and it's like listening to a TED talk. It's cool.
We have a question that I love from Danielle. Said you've said that music is great inspiration for your characters. What is Jonathan Pine's song?
Okay, that's a really good question. I listened to lots of soundtracks. I find music just because everyone on set has a necessarily practical energy. They are lighting, or they are fixing the physical environment, or they're pulling focus, or they have something practical to do. And an actor has an emotional thing to do, which is literally living in a different space. And so it helps me to put myself into that. Music is such an evocative form of expression, and it takes you immediately to that place in your mind. And so as Pine, I would listen to a lot of soundtracks. I found myself listening to, there's a track from Black Hawk Down called Ashes to Ashes, which has it almost has a sort of Middle Eastern vocalist. Mm-hmm. It's there's a deep, dark bass which suggests the underbelly of terror, but it also has this very romantic quality to it, and I felt like that was just very Pine. And also the score to Bourne Ultimatum is terrific. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Really, really great. There's something percussive and propulsive about that music, specifically the score to the Waterloo section, where, because quite often as an actor, my job was to be on my own in a hugely high-stakes situation, but with nothing to respond to, whether it's breaking into Roper's office or looking at the arms papers or driving into the facility for the first time. A lot of it was just me, doing that stuff on my own and then trying to create an internal engine to feel danger. Music is very helpful, and if you listen to Waterloo on the Bourne Ultimatum soundtrack, you will feel it. So there you go.
What about, is it the same when you're doing something like High Rise and like your character is going insane? Do you listen
Definitely.
to...
Yeah. Ben Wheatley had a track he played for me, Tangerine Dream. I can't remember what the track was called. I think it was Phaedra. Anyway, it sounds like a man losing his mind.
Oh, that's so perfect. Yeah. For some reason, a lot of people are asking this question, I guess because it's timely. If Pine were in the Olympics, what would be his sport?
Oh, gosh. I don't know that he's quite fit enough to be in the Olympics.
Pine?
Yeah.
He's in pretty good shape.
I mean, he's just, I don't know. Maybe he'd be a middle distance runner or something. I don't know.
What would your sport be?
The same.
Really?
That's probably what I'm thinking, yeah. 800 meters.
I got this question from my friend Bree. I didn't actually realize it was her. You've chosen a wide variety of roles and projects the past few years and have gotten to show off some impressive physical skills, singing, guitar playing, various fighting styles, shooting, raptor impressions. What's the skill you're aching to develop or play for a role?
Gosh. I don't know. I really don't know, but that's such a good question. It is. I do feel like that's the unspoken great privilege of actors, is that they get to learn all this cool stuff with the excuse that it's for work.
Right.
I can ride a horse, and I can. I learned how to sword fight and.
But see, I just figured they taught that at prep school. Sword fighting and horse riding in England.
No, they don't. And various sort of different forms of dance. I'm trying to think of something that would be cool. Playing the guitar, playing Hank, that was cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. I don't know how to scuba dive.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'd love to do.
I can do something you can't.
Yeah, you can. You can.
There's one
there
thing.
Go. Yeah.
Speaking of playing Hank, you're on a soundtrack.
I know.
This is so crazy.
Yeah.
It's like the soundtrack list has your name on it.
I know. I find that crazy. Yeah.
You're like a, what do you call it? Like a music star now.
A performer. I'm like, it's like, the biggest kick I got out of that was, I've always used to stay. I've traditionally always stayed to watch the credits. And when you back in the day, before like the internet, if you wanted to find out a song that you'd never heard before that you loved in the film, you'd have to wait till the end of the credits and you'd see that song and be like, and it goes by so fast. It goes, so you're like, performed by, written by, and you find the name. And so when I saw the film for the first time and I saw all these songs and it was like performed by Tom Hiddleston, I was like, that is crazy.
Tom Hiddleston and the Saddle Spring Boys.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
That was our band name.
So, so maybe the Grammy is next.
I don't think so.
You can get started on your EGOT.
I don't think so. I think we'll leave that to Hank.
So I want to talk about what's up next. I know you're still filming Thor.
Yeah, I mean I've only just started really.
Because Mark Ruffalo wrapped.
Well, they need to get the Hulk started. I remember this from Avengers. It's like the Hulk takes so much time to sort of cook in post-production that I know that he's always scheduled at the top. It was the same on Avengers. It's like they can get started on making a Hulk as fabulous as he needs to be. So, no, I'm in for the long haul. I won't be done until November.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I know that Mark has been sending you passive-aggressive tweets on Twitter about this. The last time Loki and Hulk met up, it did not go so well for you.
No, very badly.
What can you tell us anything, or will you know?
I couldn't. If I did, I would spoil it. It's so, but it is okay. So it's no secret. It's been confirmed that Thor, Loki, and the Hulk are going to share space in Ragnarok. So, I hope that is enough to fuel everyone's imaginations as to what might go down between the three of them.
And Monica actually has a question. Do you think Loki would ever actually work with the Avengers, and what would that look like?
I mean, you'd have to have quite a lengthy locker room discussion beforehand. I think at least sort of like can we just have a quick brainstorm about what happened in New York a couple of years ago?
Right.
Just to make sure we're all clear and there's no grudges being held by anyone. I don't know. I don't know if the Avengers would trust him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love in Thor 2, like there's a couple times where Loki says to, I just blanked on his name, Thor. You're like, you still don't trust me? And I'm like, I'm kind of on Thor's side.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not, he's just proved himself completely unworthy of anyone's trust. You never know. You never know. I mean, I don't know what's coming. The Marvel universe is ever expanding. Mm-hmm. I genuinely don't know this, but maybe there's a world where there's some impossibly evil, terrifying force that makes people team up. I don't know.
I heard a rumor, but again, I never believe things I read on the internet. You shot a cameo for Age of Ultron?
I did.
That ended up not getting cut?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Or ended up not getting into the film?
Yeah,
What's
that's true. It was a dream sequence with, it was part of Thor's nightmare. There's a bit where, how does it work? So I think somewhere in that film, Scarlet Witch shows like all the Avengers their sort of worst case scenario. Mm-hmm. And Thor had a dream, and he goes to I can't remember where he is supposed to be, but anyway he meets Loki and Heimdall. So Idris was in the scene too, and it's sort of terrifying for him. Yeah. It was a day-long shoot for me. Loved seeing Joss again and Chris and Idris, and then I think as they were testing the film. The initial audiences were like, "Oh, Loki's controlling Ultron," and Kevin Feige and all the guys at Marvel were like, "No, he's not." And so they just thought it was confusing. Yeah. So they were like, "We have to get rid of it."
So speaking of Loki, you are on Instagram now.
Yes, look, there he is.
Yes, your first and only Instagram.
That's it.
Yet. Who convinced you to join this thing?
Actually, I just thought of joining a while ago, and then I was thinking, what could be the first picture? And I thought it should be a picture of the Lokester.
Well, is that his nick? Do you have other nicknames for him? The Lokester.
The Lokester.
The Lokinator.
Yeah, the Lokinator. The Lokester is one that comes up frequently on set.
Really? People really call him that?
Yeah.
Well, what about Snapchat? You're not on that one yet, are you?
I'm not on Snapchat.
Are you familiar with it? Because I'm just gonna here. Let me read your face.
Okay. Wait. So.
Oh,
hang on. Okay.
It reads your face. And then, look, you can be a dog. Open your mouth.
Oh, my God.
I'll send you that one.
That is amazing.
And
is this the face swap thing?
No. Do you want a face swap?
No.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, it's really unattractive. I'll show you what it looks like, but we won't let anybody else see. This is the beautiful one. You can be a pineapple.
I love that.
Hey, that's a good one. Let's keep that one.
That is hilarious.
I'll let you decide whether or not you want to post these.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm just making everyone at home jealous. These are just
terrifying.
disturbing.
What? That's terrifying. These are all terrifying.
Okay, here's the face swap. I don't know if it'll read us or not.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Wow.
Okay, I will take this and we'll let someone approve that. Wow, that was really scary.
We went to that was like Crimson Peak again.
Yeah, that was supposed to be fun, and it was really unpleasant. I'm sorry about that. That went much better in my head. So in Thor and Kong Skull Island.
Yes,
obviously.
Yes. Yeah.
You spend a lot of time acting across CGI and green screens.
Yeah.
How do you prepare for something like that? That's a totally different skill.
That's such a good question. It's based. I've always thought of it as pure acting, and it's almost like theatre, because the thing that you're supposed to believe in doesn't exist, and so you have to commit your belief as an actor to your imagination. Otherwise, the audience won't believe it. That's my theory, is that if you as an actor don't truly kind of believe in the fiction of what you're supposed to be seeing, when it cuts to the reverse, be it, frankly, Hulk or Iron Man or the Chitauri or King Kong, then it sort of won't marry. And I've always found that a really interesting challenge is sort of trying to summon that within yourself, to just say, for this moment, for the 20 seconds of this shot, I'm going to fully commit to the idea of Kong.
And the first time it must feel kind of silly.
Yeah, oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah, it feels silly for the 100th time. You always feel silly. You're forever feeling silly.
Was Kong a tennis ball that you had to...
Kong was all sorts of things. He was sometimes like, a piece of tape, or a tennis ball, or sometimes he was a tree in the distance. Yeah. But that's going to be what I love about, like, when I eventually see that film, I will finally meet
Right,
Kong,
it'll be a whole thing. You don't know what movie you made.
Yeah.
Because you haven't seen Kong.
No, I haven't.
I love the director of this movie, too.
He's great.
And I love this whole cast. What is sort of different about this version of Kong, if it is?
Well, I think, he's already spoken about how this Kong is actually just larger, physically bigger than people have been used to. And it's a completely different context. It's there is no kind of broke actress who's down on her luck, who's hired by a movie producer to go and create this film. There is no movie producer. It's all set in the 70s, and it's about myth. It's about a group of explorers who go to this island for other reasons, and what they find there is completely life-altering, and I think I hope you can sort of see that from the trailer as well, is that the way we shot it. Jordan was adamant about this, was that we should go to the ends of the earth where nature is at its most beautiful and terrifying, and so we went to Hawaii and the rainforests of Australia. There are rainforests down there, and the swamps and rivers, or mountainous lakes of Vietnam. And I think there are shots of the planet in this film that people will be like, where is that? Yeah. And that's exciting. I think audiences can feel that now. They can feel when something's tangible and that you've really gone, that's us in those places, in extreme physical circumstances,
And it was a long shoot, I remember. And I don't know if you were joking or not, but the last time I saw you, you said you hadn't been home in a year.
I hadn't.
Really?
Yeah. I've since been home for a bit.
I think I read something about that.
Yeah. No, been home. It's funny. It's just being an actor now is about, you have to be easy with traveling. You have to, because all the work, the most interesting work is happening in remote locations often. Very little is shot in LA anymore. Very little shot in New York and in London. Well, there's more in London, I guess. But it's. But Vietnam was amazing. Vietnam. When I saw everybody at San Diego Comic Con, we were all reminiscing about Vietnam immediately, because it was a sort of experience that is unrepeatable. Yeah. You'd be picked up for work in a car, driven to a unit base where you get in a 4x4. 4x4 would take you off-road to a riverbank. You get off the vehicle into a boat. The boat takes you to another boat, which takes you through a procession of caves to the location. It was unlike anything I've ever done or ever seen.
Do you get to do anything touristy when you're in these places, or is there just no time?
No, there was one day. Where it was just Sam Jackson and John Goodman, and I went. We went to see these extraordinary caves in and around Hanoi. Well, they're about 2 hours outside Hanoi. Huge, deep caves like you've never even imagined. And I went with Corey Hawkins and Thomas Mann, and we went sort of exploring through these. You can go and see these caves, and there's one cave that's only accessible if you get a zip line across the river, and then you have to swim for a bit, and then you get out and you're inside the cave. And then inside the cave is this sort of this sort of mud thing where you sort of you know, you're all sort of swimming in the mud and it's apparently really good for your skin or whatever. But it was one of those crazy experiences where you're like, this is an adventure. You know?
What, didn't you also go to a mall and ride an Angry Bird?
Yes, I did.
I saw pictures of that on Twitter, like the whole cast rode animals.
Yeah, we found these things in the mall and we were like, we have to find those and ride them together. It's amazing, they go at precisely 3 miles an hour.
No.
Like, that's as fast as they go. And so everybody, the whole cast is on a different animal, you know.
How'd you get stuck with the Angry Bird?
I think I was the last person to arrive. But it's, just the most surreal sight, seeing Brie Larson and John C. Reilly riding around a shopping mall on a bird that goes, on a little animal that goes at 3 miles an hour.
That's where I saw it. She posted a photo on Twitter. Yeah, that's right. That was with no explanation.
No.
Just the whole cast sitting on animals.
Yeah.
We have a question, where was it? Oh, from Gina Gomez, wants to know, what's your favorite part about working with Chris Hemsworth?
Oh, wow. He is hilarious.
Really?
Truly, I think people are starting to kind of cotton on to that now. And I think that's my favorite thing. And I've known him for 7 years. Mm-hmm. And, you know, even when I haven't seen him for a bit, we just pick up where we left off. And we've got all of these running jokes now. And he's just great. He's like, you know, he's just one of my oldest friends. And to have this continued relationship is it's so fun. It really is the best fun.
And Ariana, I'm sorry I'm mispronouncing these names. I feel your pain. Ariana wants to know, what's the hardest role you've ever played and why?
Oof. Hank Williams.
Really?
Yeah, no question.
Because you weren't a singer before that, were
no,
you?
I never sang in all my life. So I'm just looking at it, and there he is.
Yeah.
There was so much about that. That was foreign territory for me. It was, you know, a 40s Alabama accent, extreme alcoholism, a musical talent that has become iconic in American culture, weight loss, the ferocity of the script, the sort of the self-destructive instincts he had, singing, playing, there's a cocktail. It was just all over there, and all of those things are things I'd never really touched before. Yeah. And so just to take it all on, we felt like I was really out of my comfort zone. And you know, initially I was sort of terrified, but it's the sort of terror that spurs you on, because I knew that I had a duty to get it right, and because, you know, you're playing with someone's legacy, and so you have to do everything you can to do it right. So that's the hardest I've ever played, I think.
It's so strange because you're not the first person I think anyone would think of to play Hank Williams.
No.
And yet when you see you in the costume and the singing, it like makes perfect sense. But did you ever have a moment like, wait, you want like a Shakespearean trained Englishman to play Hank?
I mean, the funny thing is that Mark Abraham never questioned it.
Yeah.
And I trusted his confidence. It was really amazing. He never ever doubted it. And I think it's because we'd met a bunch of times, and he realized, like, well, this guy he's not really like any of the characters he's played. He's not like Loki, or he's not like, he'd seen The Deep Blue Sea as well. And he just trusted that I would be able to do it, and somehow I took his trust, and that spurred me on. And I could see that I looked a bit like him, but everything else was...
A lot in the movie,
yeah.
We have a lot of questions about your theater work. A lot of fans of Coriolanus wants to know if there's something you do again in the near future, and would it be a more modern play or a classic this time?
Interesting. I mean, I feel like I have so many... I'm so curious about modern stuff lately, and I find myself reading very contemporary fiction, because I think the modern world is in a really interesting place. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, to comment on the modern world, sometimes the most effective and most powerful way of speaking about the contemporary world is to do something classical in film or in theatre. I think you see that a lot, actually. And you get these resonances I don't know. I do have a plan, but I can't tell you what it is yet.
Is that quite a few people? But Amanda asked, said in an interview in May, you spoke about a forthcoming Shakespeare project. Is that what you're hinting at?
There maybe, yeah. I mean, there is. I have an idea. I have a couple of ideas, but I think I always will. Like, Shakespeare feels to me like it's a sort of. Maybe it's just the way I was trained or the culture I came from. It's not something. I feel like it's at the center of everything. You can. Mm-hmm. It's such a grounding tradition, and it's sort of because those are the best stories, and it always gives you a way of anchoring references to other stories. You know, I mean, Loki is I've said this a million times, but Ken Branagh and I made him out of Shakespearean material, even though, and I think probably if we didn't have that tradition, I would have come to that character in a different way, and you know, or another actor would have come to it in a different way. I don't know. So my hope is that I'll have a career that can always touch Shakespeare somewhere.
And actually, Marilyn wanted to know, what's your favorite Shakespeare role?
Oof, gosh.
That you've played or not played? Is there one you're dying to play?
So many.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, they all. The thing about his writing is that it speaks to you at every stage of your life. So that when you're young, you really empathize with sort of the passion and the rebelliousness of a character like Romeo, for example, or Hamlet, maybe. But then as you get older, you become sort of more in touch with the more mature characters. You sort of start to sort of relate in a different way to other characters. You know, whether it's Lear or Benedict or you know, some of the sort of senior figures. I'm not really pinning my colours to the mast, am I?
Yeah. Well, can you not wait to get old and play Lear? That's like something to look forward to.
Yeah, that's a great dream.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope you just hope that you live long enough to get the chance. But it's that is one of my favourite plays, I think. Mm-hmm. I think even as a student, I could see the power and wisdom in it. But like the other day, when I was watching Listen to Me, Marlon, the fantastic documentary about Marlon Brando, he quotes Shakespeare all the way through.
Yeah,
and it's used to sort of illuminate different parts of his life, and hearing him speak it as well, he had such a resonant voice. Shakespeare will always be there, I hope.
The reason I have this here is because I just wonder how weird it is to have yourself as an action figure.
It's
do you
so
think
cool.
That looks like you?
No, I don't. And if I showed this to my mum, she'd be like...
She hasn't seen it?
So no, she has, yeah. She always thinks she's always just finds the hair a bit extreme.
Well, that was you look very angry there, actually.
He's a hugely angry man.
Well, I don't blame him. His
God.
brother is like a pain.
Yeah. His brother's a pain. He doesn't belong anywhere. He's like hates his father or his adoptive father or something.
I have a brother who can do no wrong, and so
this is why he's so angry. It says on the back of the thing, believing he has lived his entire life in the shadow of his brother, Loki will stop at nothing until Thor is defeated. His plans of conquest stretch from Earth to Asgard and beyond, anywhere he can do harm to the people Thor has sworn to protect. I mean, I could have done with that when I first played the part. Thank you.
The reason I have this actually is funny. My mom knows that I like Loki, because that was also my dog's name, but no relation. Look, my Loki came before yours. But so she's found a Loki doll at the store and was like, oh, Janelle will like this. And it was some knockoff. I mean, his costume was yellow. You know, and I didn't have the heart to break it to her that that wasn't the Loki.
Yeah.
So some person on Instagram, some lovely person, felt sorry for me and sent me that.
That is so sweet.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever actually seen that one.
You're
that's
kidding,
from
it's the first one.
That's from Thor 2.
You're right, because I was upset he didn't have a scepter.
Dark World. He's got his knives, you see, and he's got the trench coat of doom.
You've got to steal some clothes from the set.
It's so hard to steal from they are. Everything gets taken off me as soon as it leaves,
And frankly, they don't look comfortable, so.
It's a rig. It's a rig to get into.
So I think everyone just wants to know what you're doing next.
I don't officially know that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a sort of interesting time where there's a few. I mean, there's like lots of possibilities, but I haven't kind of locked on anything yet.
Do you yourself ever look at this last year and think, boy, that was crazy of me to have two movies, a miniseries, film two movies? I mean,
well, I remember the experience of it. 2014 was the year I felt it most physically, because I did 50 performances in 2014. I did 50 performances of Coriolanus, Crimson Peak, High Rise, and I Saw the Light. And at the end of that year, I was just wiped. And then I went straight into The Night Manager because I'm a sucker for punishment. But I'm just delighted by it.
Yeah.
I feel so genuinely grateful that I'm allowed to do, or have been allowed to do, so many different various things. That's everything I dreamed of. Like when I became an actor almost 20 years ago now, I dreamed of having a career which would involve lots of variety. I wouldn't be just doing one thing all the time. I could do theatre, I could do film, I could do television, I could play lots of different parts. And that has felt like the thing I've fought for the hardest as I've tried to make my way, is never to repeat myself, always to try and to sort of push myself into new territory, be out of my comfort zone, because that's where you learn. And those are the actors I've always respected, the people who've always done that. So that's probably what I'm trying to do next, is find what's unexpected.
and I mean, we've had this discussion before that you have very intelligent fans, and they seem
Yeah,
to
they're
be
really
mostly
smart.
Respectful. At least the ones who I get CC'd on
Okay, good.
have been very nice to me.
Yeah.
But how does that sort of change your life? Like you're active on social media.
You mean having fans, or just being on social media?
Being so good at interacting with them.
Well, I mean, the ones, it felt quite slow, I guess. So it's felt quite, nothing about my life has been instant, or nothing about my professional life anyway. In that it's sort of been quite steady, and I've actually, a lot of the people that I think are active on social media anyway, people I've actually met somewhere at Comic-Con or at a premiere, and you put a face to a name and you go, and so that's sort of, the people who first, I don't know, came to see me in Othello almost 10 years ago now.
It's been 10 years?
Yeah, well, 2007, so it's 9 years. Yeah, crazy. Or they saw a Joanna Hogg film. So that's nice, it feels like people have been around for a while, and are on for the ride, I guess.
So you ready to take this quiz?
Yes.
We have a quiz that will tell you which Marvel villain you are.
Can't wait.
Yes.
If I get this wrong, there'll be hell to pay.
I know, exactly. What are you going to do if you turn out to be like...
I mean, Ultron or something.
Yeah, that would be devastating.
Or, I just need to...
Those are the only two I know. What are the other villains?
Red Skull.
So every villain needs a hideout. Where's yours? Among the cosmos, never in one spot for long, nowhere and anywhere, a castle, or New York City? I love that you're putting so much thought into this. You really don't want to get this wrong, do you?
New York City.
Really?
I mean, that's the Avengers, right? Like,
yeah.
Tries to take over New York.
Oh, see, you're trying to beat this quiz.
I am.
Oh, well, that never works well.
Should I go back?
No, that was your answer.
Okay.
Before you were a villain, you had a childhood. How was yours? Your parents didn't notice you. You were the outcast, always on the run, alone on a quest for vengeance, or a patriotic family?
Always the outcast.
Really? I love when really successful people say like, oh no, I was a nerd at school.
Oh no, I'm answering questions as Loki.
That's cheating.
Okay, we have to go back to the top. I'm sorry. I'm trying to beat the quiz. We're going back to the top. I'm going to answer.
Do you like that I have rules for my internet?
Okay.
By the way, this is a Play Buzz quiz. I feel I should give him a shout out. Okay, so every villain needs a hideout.
Yeah.
Where's yours? New York, nowhere and anywhere, among the cosmos, never in one spot for long, or a castle?
Never in one spot for long.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Before you were a villain, you had a childhood. How did yours go? Outcast, alone on a quest for vengeance, patriotic family, always on the run, or parents didn't notice you?
Patriotic family, I guess.
A good villain is an educated villain. How did you fare in school? Focused on graduating to move on, ditch school when possible, prodigy child, cheated, or self-taught education?
What was the first one?
Focused on graduating to move on.
Probably that one. Yeah.
So some villains have a unique scope on life. What do you see? Worldwide peace through control, enforce peace tactically and brutally, to live by no one's rules but your own, a desire of death, or a dark sense of justice?
Oh my God. What was the first one?
Whoops. Oh no, my problem occurred with this web page. We're never going to get the answer.
Oh no, do we have to go and fill them all the same ones?
No, I can do this really quick. You were never in one spot for long.
Yeah.
Patriotic family.
Yeah, so I have to just be quick about
Yes.
this.
You already failed in school.
No, focus on graduating to move on. Live by no one's rules but your own.
Okay, what do you say?
A hero confronts you with the intention to fight. What do you say? The fires of the battlefields is where men are born, boy. It's time you were put in your place. Good, you were just getting hungry. Entertain me. Don't you know who I am? You dare challenge me, filth.
That sounds like a very Loki line.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. All right, we're calculating the results. This might change the destiny of... You're Red Hulk!
Wow. Wow.
Wow!
What does that even mean? I'm going to read
You
this
don't
out.
know Red Hulk?
I know who Red Hulk is, but let's read it out for those who don't. Born into a strict and military-like lifestyle, you gained a no-nonsense outlook at life and aimed to achieve a high status in your career. In school, you were a fit and athletic student and became top of your class. Situated in a successful life which you forged through pain, blood and sweat, you discovered a loved one had become at risk of dying, willingly becoming a test subject to a powerful organization that promised to save them. In exchange, you are transformed into a powerful and colossal brute. This is my life story. With your newfound strength and mighty power, you employ your skills tactically against anyone brave enough to step up against the Red Hulk.
Are you going to let Mark know that you're Red Hulk?
I will just affectionately become even more brotherly than we already are. The Green Hulk and the Red Hulk.
I didn't even know there was a Red Hulk.
I knew there was. He may even be the same Hulk.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I think.
Okay, so maybe you won't tell Mark. You're stepping on his territory.
Okay. No. There is only one Hulk. It's the rougher Hulk. Yeah.
And just finally, you're headed back to Australia to do some more shooting.
Yeah.
Will you be able to make it out here for the Emmys?
I hope so.
Ooh.
We're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, fingers crossed. Touching wood.
Well, good luck.
Thank you very much.
There's a lot of us rooting for you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for stopping by and for being such a good sport with all my props.
It's good. It's good to bring them. Thanks, Janelle.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.